Good afternoon, evening or morning, whatever time you're watching this. Today we're going to be looking at the diesel heater. It's one of these Basto clone type diesel parking heaters. This one's been in service for a good, I did all of last winter, and so far this winter it's done a bit of work keeping the house warm. But the bearings are starting to go in the motor. You can hear it squealing. So this one is going to have a nice new set of bearings thrown at it. Hopefully they're the right ones. I've got the details off the internet. If they're not, oh well, I got the wrong ones. Just so we can see, it is apparently an 8 kilowatt model. It is a fission machine, so I'm guessing this is nuclear fission. But okay. So, never actually had this open. I know for a fact you take that off, the cap comes off, which has got a nice bit of dust on it. This bit opens up all the time, and there's the inside of it. So, as far as I know, the actual guts should, if you just, let's get this silicone type gasket out. Obviously here's our exhaust port, intake port and the fuel inlet. So, should have to extract it. There she is. So there's the motor. The dust that's got into it. It doesn't stop immediately, does it? What we might do is power it up, just see if it makes a noise today, because it might not, but we're going to try that. Right, so now we've got the heater. I've just took the wire off the circuit board, we've connected into the connector into the power supply. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you right down here. Now, all you can hear is the small amount of gentle scraping. Hopefully you can hear it. I don't know if you can, but that's all you're able to hear. And it's not so much that's the problem. It's when it's actually running. I don't know if I'm using diodes, it's just because they're pins and they're going to connect them nicely. It's not that when it's running, after say 30 minutes or so, it goes, you start hearing that bearing horrible squeaking sound which you get every now and again once the bearing works its way out. So what we've got to work out is how it all comes apart. Now, never having had one apart before, this is going to be quite an interesting very careful project to try and pop this blade fan assembly unit off. I'm kind of hoping just be able to gently encourage it to move, but I don't know how well secured on it is. I don't think there's anything holding the fan blade on, whether it's just been pressed on there. Quite possible. Definitely nothing in the end there to secure it. I'm going to mess with that for a minute. Once I find a good way of doing it, I'll show you. Either that or I'll break my fan blade. Right, so the way to do it is you get your 2 screwdrivers in behind, paying a lot of attention to the fact that the hall sensor, the wires for the motor go in here. So you don't want to go praying anywhere near the circuit board or anywhere else. So all I've done, got one screwdriver into this side and one into the other, like that. And if you get one at top and bottom, then it does just pull off like that. And that's it, it's just a spline shaft that it's gripped onto. So now, let's just have a quick look. The bearings look to be the right size. So the next bit, I'm going to have to split this front casing off and take that part of the assembly off. But the circuit board's in the way. So I think what we'll do is we'll unplug all the plugs off the circuit board first, get the circuit board out of the way, and we'll go from there. So that comes off on that side, that little one. Probably better if I could actually give you a bit more closer view. So yeah, we're just removing this one from here. That one was the fan. That's my own frame. And around this side we've got just this little one here, which goes to, that's right, just this little one here, which goes off to the bottom here, which is getting a thermal cutout. So if it overheats, it switches off. So that should, where my knackered up hand, and that one just picks off like all the others. They've all got the little latch type connectors where you just squeeze them in and lift them off. So if we look, that bit's held on somehow. Doesn't look like that's going to be an issue for us. Let's get some other keys. We start doing stuff, so it should just start coming apart. It's about that size. So I'm going to have that one out the bottom, hold the electrics on. Simple as that, that's now out of the way. So I think this plastic shroud type detritus going to have to come off. Yes it is, yes. So just loads of little where to get this back piece off I worked out. This plastic retaining ring. You see there's a small slot you can get a screwdriver into just there. Just to help ease it off. Put some pressure on it by twisting the screwdriver, and away she comes, just like that. So yeah, it's just these lots of clips you're fighting with all the way around here, up against that edge, but using this slip that's here, it's there, and it's the same on both sides, so you can just ease it a bit and move it off. Right, next bit. I'll say this is an instructional video, but I'm learning as I'm doing it as well. So I'm going to crack all these off and get a look inside the burn chamber. See how that looks after. I don't know how, if you can ever tell how many hours they've done, but this one's done a few. Put that one out there. I'm going to put all the screws somewhere so you lose all of them immediately. My usual best way of doing things. The running positions for these heaters, there are two ways it can be run. So that's the air intake side and that's the exhalation side. So the heater can be run that way up or that way up, but it cannot be run that way. It has to be run that way. So with the air intake side, so what would be the red side on this one with this grate, that has to be on the right hand side with the ports facing out or ports facing down. That's your two choices. You can't run it any other way up. So, a quick few knocks and we're in. So you say why? It's running this way. The fuel is coming in via this hose here and drips into where the glow plug is and then into the heater. Or if it's this way, the fuel drips in there and goes into the heater. The fuel does not go uphill. Sorry. So you can see why. It's got to be run with the exhaust ports down, so the fuel is coming into the side and going into the glow plug and into the burn chamber. Or if you run it on its side, and that one orientation you can, the fuel comes in the top and goes into the burn chamber. It can't run that way because the fuel won't go uphill, and it can't run that way because the fuel won't go uphill. Okay? Simple. So we don't really need to get into this bit, but we're going to have a look anyway out of curiosity. Why not, eh? While it's apart. Hold on, mate, you can do it. So let's just crank on those 4 bolts there. Let's move that assembly out of the way. Need to get a socket. Only 4 bolts hold the burn chamber in. I'm probably going to have to undo the glow plug to do this, which is under this cover. So pull them back. Yeah. Feed the wires through, give it some slack, like that. And yeah. So I need to unscrew the little glow plug. The actual pipe is soldered in. Looking at a 12 or a 13 for that. All the bolts, all the Allen bolts so far have been 4mm Allen key, just so you know. Happy with the right size, so 12mm spanner will do for undoing the glow plug. Just crack her off gently, she's come loose. Now you need to undo it by gently rotating the wires. Do not twist the wires, otherwise your glow plug wires will snap, and that's the end of your heater until you can get a new glow plug. So there's a glow plug. Looks well. That is an 8-volt glow plug. Apparently, that's what it says on it. Does it have a part number? No, it doesn't. There's my gasket's gone to shit here. Oh well, worst things have happened. I'm sure it'll still work fine. Why it keeps attacking me. And one more screw. Right, now to get the burn chamber out, we have to slide the whole thing out, and there it is. So, let's just have a quick look for how long this has been working for. Yeah, it doesn't look bad in there, does it? Pretty clean. And likewise inside of here there's a tiny bit of soot in the bottom, which is easy enough to empty out. That's probably just because we've disturbed things, but that's all it is. Soot is gone. Right, that's not what we're here for anyway, so I'm going to put that back together and we're going to go back to doing the bearings. Alright, so nearly got it back together. So if you're doing any work in the burn chamber or decide to take this bit apart, those screws probably want to be quite tight. Just try and keep the combustion happening in the right areas. There's that. Right, so now on to this part. There's the wheel that blows the air in. And it's literally sucks air in the centre and centrifuges it out through this port at the side here. So getting this off is going to be another challenge, because there's not as much room to work with. Got one there, here, she's coming. Gently is the key here. Spin it round. She's nearly all the way off. There we go. And there's that centrifuging part, so the air is drawn in here. And it's just spun around and blown back out that port there. So it looks like we're going down a size in Allen keys. So we're no longer using a 4mm, we're going down to a 3. that's it. It's the last bolt. That comes our motor. That don't look very serviceable, does it? It's got a bearing either end. Yeah. Previously, we were able to fix these because they were bolted together. Wide drop of it. They are still 625Z,
right,
so right, I'm going to find out how to
do.
get this open. Let me get it back together briefly. But there, that's how it was. Basically, I've had to get a punch, which I've lost, for a centre punch, so with a point on it, and I've gone at the edges and knocked the little tabs back out of the way, which has exposed the inside of the motor. So there it is, a simple little device. And look, it's going to be a bit of fun getting it back together. And they've staked all the... I'm not sure this is in any class of serviceability here, to be honest, looking at it now. Try and get the brushes to let go of that and bring it out, because they haven't really given you any way to gain access into the back of here. They've staked the this piece of plastic has been staked on. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try, but maybe I have to use a soldering iron or something. Whether you'd be better off just getting a new motor, but then you're going to get the same bearings, I suppose. Right, so we're going to try and get the motor out the inside of this casing. The bearing out of the casing. And see how we go. There are shims in it as well. It's good fun because the magnets are attracting my tool. Yeah, so in the end you got these tiny little shims which you don't want to lose. Just about to see them. Right, let's see if I can find some way of getting that out of there. So I was just offering up my 8mm socket to it, seeing if it would fit, and it pushed it straight out. There she is. SXD brand bearing. Don't know if this is a good one or not really any way of telling. That's one out anyway. One bearing done. Is it the same as my new ones? Oh, they're pretty damn close, aren't they? Right, back to the slightly more tricky one that I've got to work out. So what I'm thinking of doing, getting access into the back of here, is just to like deform them slightly. Then I'll come back later with a soldering iron or something and we'll squish them back up. So let's cut them off. Can we get these through now? Yeah, they're still pretty tight. Let's try and encourage it with something. Yes. So yeah, getting a little pick underneath there in between that gap seems to be enough. Yeah, the bearings are pretty full of crud. Look, it's because the brushes they put the brushes right next to the bearings. So there's the brush assembly, and it's just throwing junk into it. So if it's anything like the last one, which it's not, if it doesn't fit, let's see what I've got. Something that'll fit in there nicely. No. Drill bit, the wrong size. Yeah, I'm just going to take a drill bit, that's not the right size for the bearing, just push it, and there it is. There's the bearing. This is probably the one that's squealing, because if you look at the amount of dirt on it, it's probably where the issues come from. So now, I'm going to open up our bearings, new ones. Get them out, have a look. Fully shielded bearing, both sides. And we're just going to pop him back in the hole where it came out of, where the previous one came out of, like that. And that's it. Beautiful. I think we need to start the soldering on it, because now I'm going to put this back together. This only fits one way, because obviously it's got the markings in it. We get something, one of these pair of pliers, just to send it back through as far as it goes, like so. And now we're going to get soldering iron out. Right, now I've got the bench thoroughly covered in bits of heater. The skill level required for this job is more like what tools do you have. I'd say it's anywhere between 1 and 2 beers to get this finished. This will be the first beer. The main problem is finding where you've just put everything. Right, so I'm going to fire up the soldering arm, which was the original plan. It's going to go for 400. Right, what we've got to do, push down. She's at 400. And yeah, it's just ABS. So just going to try and melt what's left flat, just so it holds it. Like that. Just displacing a bit of plastic. Ooh. Like that. Basically exactly how they'd have heat staked it in the factory. It's just spread a bit of plastic round to stop it falling to pieces. Get this to go back through, like so. Then I'll get them there. We've got to get these brushes, if you can see them in there, back out the blooming way. So we do it progressively, and there we are, straight in. Easy. So now that's back where it lives. Sounds as fresh as I probably expected it would. Now we need to get it back into the front casing, but when you try and put it back into here, because there's magnets, it's going to try and suck this straight in and undo all of your good work of trying to do it, well, not drop everything. So we're going to need another bearing, front bearing. That needs to go back down through there. What I'm going to do, my tip, because we've got to get this back into the centre there without it getting sucked straight into the magnets. Right, so we're going to try again. This time I'm going to put the bearing into its rubber case thing first, and we're going to try and send it down. So down the middle, turn that screwdriver in the centre, let go of the bearing, something gentle. You want to push the bearing in, and it finally gets to its right place. And of course it's going to fight us. It doesn't want to go in nice. I think we're nearly there. Right, once you spend about 10 minutes remembering where that little tiny shim went, or finding it and scrabbling about, remember to put that back on the shaft. So, and holding this back piece as tightly as possible, we're going to try and get it to go back in. And there we are. And line up the mark with that, and gently encourage the back casing back on. Right, more or less out of interest, the motor is there back together, and we're going to put some power through it just because I want to see what it behaves like now. Yeah, I mean, it still sounds like crap. I think that's full speed. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the case it's just a junk motor to start with. Never mind. Anyway, I'm going to carry on and finish putting the heater back together. Right, so now with those bits back in place, we need to put the motor back in the housing. Wire has to come through this gap, obviously. Get the bits lined up. Remember, it's the little ones that use I think it's a 3mm Allen key. Then I'll put the front of it together. Then some of the other heaters I've seen, they've been a little more slightly different to get open, but I don't know, maybe I didn't see the video correctly. It's usually David McLucky, I think it's McLucky? David McLucky does loads of diesel heater videos. That's where I got the bearing sizes from, so thank you. Yeah, right. Press this assembly back on. Should just be a case of pushing. Probably wants to go on as far as it can possibly go. Which is there. Still sounds rubbish. I think it's junk. Does that back casing come apart if I just push that out? Maybe slightly. Yeah, it is what it is. Then gaps, not bloody gasket and everything. Really nice quality gasket they use. Right, so we're going to put the heater side back together. And then, in fact, I wonder if we push the fan side back on as well while we've got able to put pressure on it. You can see where I was prying onto before, just trying to get the screwdriver right onto this area. And we need to put the thing of whateverness back on. Fits there, so it indexes. That's it. I need to look at this again. I've just pushed the back off the can off the motor again. Right, motor's back together. I broke my bloody wheel, didn't I? I've glued it. It might work. Probably going to try putting this end back in first, because then the motor's not going to come apart. Hopefully. Right, so this is quickly becoming a video on how not to fix your diesel heater. I've got to get this back on. Managed to get that back off again. What I might do is gently tap that rather than pushing it, so I can be a bit more precise. Right, so we've got a very small gap round the side. Hopefully that's close enough. Might go a bit closer. Go too close, go too far, and we've got to start again. That's pretty close. It's just riping on the gasket there, because the gasket's knackered. Of course, got to remember to get that back in the right place when it goes back together. Call that good. And gently tap this back on. It's binding. Right, I'm going to mess with that till it's right. Right, I'm calling that good. I'm going to put it back together because I'm getting fed up with it now. It's nice and quiet now. Can't hear that horrible noise anymore, but it wasn't much for noise anyway, but... okay. Going back. I don't know. I probably wouldn't use my video as a guide for doing this. It's more of a don't do it my way. It's kind of slotted back in where it lives, so we tighten it down and hope for that clamps up. So tighten the screws. Right, so we've got all those bits back together. I don't know, this job's turning into one of those don't do it unless you're willing to destroy your heater jobs. Because if you can put it with a bit of bearing noise, might be easier than getting all these bloody spacings correct for the motor and everything, because it hasn't been much fun. at all. I can't say I've enjoyed much of this project so far, but I'm not holding anything out. You're seeing exactly all the mistakes I seem to be making today. Quite a few. And obviously fixed a few of them off camera, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong with getting the spacing right for this part. But hey, it's back together. Whether it works properly anymore is another question, but find out in a minute. Thing is, at the map's not even that cold, so I don't think I'll be using it that much at the moment anyway, but I'll get fired up just to show you. Right, that's that bit all done. We just need to connect our wires back up to everything. Motor wire, back to that. The little temperature thingamabob. It's a 3-pin connector with only 2 pins, so you've got to make sure the 2 pins go to the actual only 2 pins of the connector, because there's nothing to stop you getting it wrong. This is the strangest bit, is the fact it just flops into here and doesn't. It's not a lot holding it in. Something like that. For a wiggle. Swear at it a few times. Really? Upside down, isn't it? Try the other way up. The exhaust actually come out the exhaust holes, and that might work better. Sure, you ain't got any wires getting trapped anywhere they shouldn't be trapped. That goes in there, still spins free. Put the thingamabob on the side. Make sure that wire's out the way of everything. Chuck this piece on. Ta-da! And the front back on. There it is. 2 bearings changed. Was that worth the effort? I don't know. There you go. I suppose we've got to see if it works. That'll be a job for a few minutes. Right, so it's currently running its startup procedure. That is probably the quietest this thing's ever run. It is almost silent. Just waiting for it to start fueling. It's probably going to struggle because obviously had all the pipes off, so we have to let it prime up and do its thing and restart a few times, but we come back when it's actually roaring. Right, so should have done a before and after video of this, but she's running flat out now. Finally got it primed up, and yeah, we make some heat. There we go, we're up at 60 something there. Oops, I won't bring it so you can see it. Yeah, she's going. So yeah, all is well. And well, it's about the same amount of noise, because most of what you can hear is the air noise, but hopefully that's the end of the squeaking bearings. Marvellous. Oh, that'll do for today. Don't worry about all of this. I will be putting in some thermally insulated board. There you go. Thanks for watching.